What are the needs of adult learners? What are our needs as adult learners? And what it is that as instructors we should be at least aware of if we want to make sure that people will at least be interested in what we have to say. So the topics that we have chosen for you to address this subject is, first of all, how to prepare for adult learners, or at least the issues or the areas that you should keep in mind when you're preparing to teach adults, or when you're preparing to facilitate learning for adults. Presentations, what they entail, some of the aspects that we need to be aware of also. Some techniques, some very simple techniques for maintaining interest, some for orienting learners, and also how to handle questions. Okay? We're also going to be talking about some subjects underneath or under each one of those topics. Okay? And notice, first of all, before we go on, that before we started here, I didn't ask any of you a very important question. This will come up again. And what do you think will happen here in the next hour and a half? Okay. In other words, when we're done in an hour and a half, I think we'll be done in an hour and a half, what do you expect to know that you didn't know before? Or how do you expect your skills to have changed in some way, or your attitudes to have changed in some way by the time we're done here this afternoon? Do you think that's a legitimate question or valid question? Would that have been a question that you would have said, well, it makes sense to ask that? Okay. Would you ask such a question if you're teaching a course like software project management? And why didn't I ask it? You don't know? Because it commits me. It commits me to answering the question and keeping the promises I make at the beginning. If I tell you, for example, if I ask you, what do you think we'll be doing? And I tell you, okay, we will be doing some of that. Or you say, oh, I think we'll be doing X. And I say, okay, we'll be doing X, a lot of X. And somebody says, I'd like to have Y. And I say, well, we'll be doing some of Y, but not all, because that somewhat takes the focus away from what we're doing here today. But we'll do some of that. And you say, I want Z. And I say, well, Z is not really right for this group. That really goes beyond what we need to do here. But I can tell you where you can find out about Z. If you want to, later on, offline, we'll talk about it, and I'll give you some ideas about how to work with that, or I can give you my mail address and you can ask me the question. I'll send you some references, whatever. Once I do that, when we're done in an hour and a half, I should be able to go back and say, I told you we were going to do X. And did we do it? And we should be able to say yes. And I told you we were going to do some of Y. And did we do that? Yes. And we weren't going to bother with Z. If I do that at the beginning, I'm committing myself to doing it. Okay? It's a very important idea in adult learning that you figure out the expectations of the people you have in front of you, okay? The people for whom you're delivering training or instruction or education, whichever term you prefer. But you figure out what people are coming in for. It sets expectations right out from the beginning. Have you ever been in an instructional situation where you came in thinking you were going to get something, and at the end you said, that had nothing to do with what I went in there for? I was recently in a hypertext course, okay, where they advertised that they were going to teach us these advanced techniques for blah, 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 blah. And at the end of the day, I thought, I could have taught this 20 times over. In fact, I was telling the instructor what to do, and he got all confused trying to go through, navigating through the menus. That's not the way it was advertised. If he would have said from the beginning, this is what I'm doing, I would have walked out even if we had already paid the $500 for it. I wasn't going to waste my day there, see? At any rate, it is very important for us to find out what people think they're going to do once they come out of what you tell them they're going to go through. Basic need that we all have. We like to know what we're in for. You know, we wouldn't walk into some room blindfolded. Well, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't. And it's the same kind of thing. I would not like to walk into a place where I don't know what is going to happen. And when I walk in, I want them to tell me what is going to happen, and at the end I want to make sure that what they promised me actually took place. That is one of the things we talk about when we talk about preparing for adult learners. Naturally, it goes beyond that.